Hey YouTube, this is Master Maniac, and welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. Hope you guys enjoyed that little montage there. I just ran around for a while collecting all the goodies that I could find, and here is most of the spoils of that trip, except that I lied, and also here's a bunch more of the spoils of that trip. Most of like the remains and all that good stuff is what I ended up throwing in here. Also, whilst I was at it, I went ahead and researched this. I found some computers hanging out around some crash sites, so I was able to get that one done. I've got some circuit boards in here, so I can research that. Let's grab those and grab the summer sloops and unlock this. This is going to be hugely important for what we're doing today. There we go. So the main reason that I went out exploring was so that I could get, where is it? This recipe. Very good. So it's 2 iron ingots, so you gotta smelt your iron first, and then 2 coal makes 3 steel ingots. It is a very, very good recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that. There's also something that I'm going to use later, something that we're definitely going to want is the steel rotor. And it basically aligns the rotor recipe with the stator recipe, which is going to make it very easy since the 2 of these things need to be made together to combine into motors. So only having them both use the same input products is very, very helpful indeed. Really wish it would quit kicking me out of the hard drive library every time I accept a thing. Other than that, this automated miner, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. That will be very useful for later when we have higher tier miners and stuff. Basically, we can just create the little hand miners automatically, shove them in a dimensional depot, and just call it a day. Aside from that, there was something else that I wanted to research, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, right. I wanted to get the first level of both of these. So let's get the Mercer spheres out of there. Do I have any more? Just want to get the first 2. So this is going to increase the upload speed of your stuff into a dimensional depot. This one is going to increase the total number of stacks of things that can be in a dimensional depot.
Dimensional uploads,
and I should have, fluctuators there.
Thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing for more parts to be transferred in a short time.
So, yeah, I came down here to the Caterium tree and unlocked AI limiters and also smart splitters, because both of those things are going to be stuff that we'll need today. So without further ado, how about let's get into the first thing that I want to do. And we're back, and I've gone ahead and set up a little bit of an array of stuff. Nothing over here is particularly interesting, aside from what you've already seen. It's basically just throwing around a bunch of constructors, a bunch of mergers and stuff for where all the outputs and everything are going to go. And the one final output that I need to situate is going to be that. And we're going to leave this not hooked up to this awesome sink quite yet. But what we are going to do is we're going to take conveyor splitters. I'm going to switch those into smart splitters, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. And then we're going to grab one more bin because I didn't think about overflow. And we're just going to hook all of these up as per normal. And we'll get to configuration here in just a moment. Should just take a second here to get these guys all put together. Alright, no big deal. So, left-hand side here is going to be power slugs, right? So that's going to be blue slugs here, and it's going to get a sloop. Which means that for this smart splitter, the right output is going to be, you can search here. So let's just search for slugs. It's going to be the blue power slug. And then front is going to be overflow. Double check and make sure that stayed. Very good. And then same thing for this one. This one's going to be yellow power slugs, and it's going to get a sloop. And then this is going to be yellow power slugs, again on the right. And output will be overflow. And then on this one, I think I need to go back and research the purple slug. Give me just a moment. Alright, we have returned, and as you can probably guess, this is going to be another slug filtered here. And another slug filtered here. Obviously getting summer slooped. Front is going to be overflow. And right here, on the right-hand side, is going to be any undefined. Forward's going to be none, and now we need to set the recipes on this other side, and this is going to be remains. So we're going to do hog protein. I'm going to sloop that. And then we'll do hatcher protein, and we'll sloop that. And then we'll do stinger protein, and we'll sloop that. And then we'll do spitter protein, and we'll sloop that. Great, great, great. None of these things need to be particularly fast. And yeah, here we're going to turn alien protein into alien DNA, and finally we're going to sloop that. We had just enough summer sloops for this. So that is very, very good news indeed, and I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here. And the next thing we have to do is get it all hooked up to power. But first, I'm going to get the input belt. So this will be where we can throw all of our parts and stuff, our slugs, our remains, all that. And then this right here is where all the power shards are going to end up going, and it'll just end up getting sent straight to the dimensional depot. Very, very good. This storage right here will be for anything that's not listed in any of these filters. That way it doesn't clog up anywhere else on the belt. This one will be where the alien DNA goes, and it's not really necessary. I just wanted to see how many I get out of the all of the remains that I've built up so far, because I haven't been doing anything with them yet. So we'll have a look at that once we get this up and running. So yeah, I think the next thing that I need to do is get all of this hooked up to power. I almost forgot. I need to set the filters on these. So this one, it's pretty much exactly the same. Hog remains here, and I'm changing the forward to any undefined. That way any remains end up going where they're supposed to go, and if it ends up backing up, then it doesn't go further than it should. So yeah, let me set these real quick. Alright, here we go, and without further ado, let's drop off all of our animal bits. Sort my inventory real quick. So, all of the remains that I've got, and that is a significant number there. And then we'll drop off all the slug, and I don't know, let's do these encased industrial beams here to show the overflow system in action. I'll pop up here, set that to straight mode, and this should hopefully work first try. Let's see. Alright, yeah, that's basically exactly what I expected to happen. So if we look in here, yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer that the rest of these things aren't being sent through, and we can rearrange this so that they are. But it doesn't really matter if they're out of order or anything, because these aren't going to need to be producing constantly, right? They're just going to need to run every now and then whenever I come and drop them out, and they're going to clear out the storage here in between processing loads, I guess. Good news though, overflow system works, which is really good. You don't want anything like that accidentally going into your awesome sink, even though your awesome sink isn't hooked up in a way that can get to it. I would just rather prevent the issue altogether when possible. So I'm gonna hang out and let these all process, and once they're done, we'll look and see how many alien DNA capsules we got. You know, I hadn't considered the implications of this, but the alien protein here it's just like grocery store cuts of meat, or maybe ground beef. You know, like you get the little styrofoam and plastic wrapped container of fresh ground beef from a grocery store. It being ever so slightly purple makes me think that either A, it's all liver meat, or B, there's something wrong with the creatures here. Probably that second thing. Yeah. It is, I hadn't considered it until now. Until I took a close look at these. It's unsettling. Alright, moment of truth time, and I've already seen what's here, but y'all may be slightly impressed. It's more than a full container. It's a full container, plus what's on the belt, plus what's in the output here, plus another 19 alien protein. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. And as you can see, I sped up this constructor. And you can see here the maximum power consumption a constructor can have, which is 53.7, from being fully overclocked and summer slooped. We also ended up, plus those 3 power shards that are in that, we got 138 power shards out of those slugs in total. So very cool. Now it's time to sink it. So before I do that, you can see that we have 0 coupons. I emptied out our coupon machines over there, and I turned off the awesome sink that's up there to the north, eating the quartz products. So we'll get a fairly accurate result. We'll get an actually accurate result of how much these are worth, because DNA points are separate from standard points. So if you're using these DNA capsules, and actually I need to steal a few of them. So I'm going to grab a stack here. I need to steal a little bit of them so that I can use them for a MAM unlock here in just a little bit. So we'll put those 45 there. I only need 5 of them. Yeah. So let's get these rocking and rolling in here and see how many tickets they're worth. You can see in the beginning it's 1 DNA capsule to a ticket, and it just slowly increases from there. It is going up. I think it's probably at like 8,000 now. Nope, 7,000. There it was. Yeah. We're already up to like 22 tickets, so it's not going to be long at all before this stuff is ready. So I guess I'll come back to y'all once this container's empty, and we'll see how much we get in total. Alright, we're back, and all of that together was worth 86 coupons. We were running at a full 270,000 points per minute. Of course, that makes sense. The belts are capable of moving 270 items per minute, and each capsule's worth 1,000 points. So the math checks out there. Now, we can grab our coupons and head back over to base, where we can purchase some new stuff. Who doesn't like shopping? Grab the 25 that we had from before. And if I recall correctly, this should be enough for me to afford all the stuff that I normally get. So I think... Yeah, I think I'm gonna... I'll be right back while I set up this grocery cart. Alright, so it might be a little bit easier for me to just go through and show you what I didn't buy. So nothing on the first tab. Considered getting the factory cart, but didn't end up doing it. Didn't end up getting the throughput monitor. I will eventually, I just don't really need it right now. Ended up taking the signs and lights off of there. Actually, I didn't end up getting anything from this tab either, but for the customizer... oh, no. Well, I got some of the walls and stuff, but I need to get roofs and everything still, and all of these finishes. Got all the foundation packs. I got all the walls except for the conveyor walls. I got a good chunk of the decorative stuff here. Really wanted to get these, and actually I do have the coupons to get those, so that'll be cool for later, and yeah. So it looks like that's about it for now. Let's go and work on upgrading our steel factory now that we got that solid steel ingot recipe. And we're back, and I guess, first I guess I should introduce you guys to the new upper floor, which is not going to be touched. This is basically just making Nobelisk for me, and chucking it into a dimensional depot. That way I've always got explosives on hand. Very important to have. There's lots of rocks that need destroying on this map. So the first thing that I think we should do is get 8 smelters set up. Of course, this is to process the iron. I guess we'll start with that one in the center. And I'm upgrading this to be 240 iron per minute. Oh, I'm missing wire. Oof. Yeah, this setup is going to run 240 iron ore and coal per minute. So this may unfortunately not be enough room. I may have to extend this arm out that way a little bit. Hopefully not too far. I do want to use this lower area, this like dried up riverbed sort of spot. It'd be cool to have like trucks driving through here or something. But I don't know. I was kind of planning on doing something with trucks and blueprints and stuff in the future, in the near future, actually. But yeah, so let me get to working on the layout of this place, and I'll meet up with y'all momentarily. And we're back, and I'm here with a progress update. So I've got I've got a whole bunch of things going on here that I'm juggling at the moment. So first off, all of the miners have been upgraded. Oh, I don't have any more rebar on me. All my miners have been upgraded, so they're now going to mine at 240 per minute, or in total 240 per minute. Each of the ones over there on the coal for the steel are going to be at 120 per minute, but they're being combined into one belt. The coal is going to come in up here. Super useful conveyor wall hole. and that's just going to get shoved into the top splitter up here for these. And the reason why I wanted to do the solid steel ingot recipe is because it's a much better ratio. It's 2 to 3 for both of the input products to the output product. It's also a bit faster, which is very nice. So in total, we're going to get 360 steel ingots per minute out of here. Wonderful. Over here, we've got all of our regular smelters that are going to be making the iron ingot. So that's going to be 60, 120, 180, 240. And that's going to get lifted up and brought over to the lower of the two splitters. And then right here is all of our constructors for steel pipes. So we're going to make 20, 40, 60, 80 of those per minute. And that's all going to come from this. This is going to require 120 steel ingots per minute, which is not bad at all. Since this side's making 180, there's going to be a splitter right here that's going to send some of the ingots over to this side to be used with these constructors for steel beams. And that should consume all of the steel that we're producing here. So everything should be good. I'll just have to route the steel pipes upstairs once... Well, I guess once I have everything finished up and lined out. I am also beginning to work on pertificating this building. It's going to take a bit, because I don't want to use... Yeah, there really isn't any better alternative for the walls than these. They're just so nice and smooth. And then I'll come back and work on something for texturing for the outer portion of this. But yeah, let me finish working on this and I'll be back with y'all in just a minute. And we're back for another status update. So I've got all of these just plumbed up to power. And I decided to go with the straight down approach. So I'm using a bunch of these double wall outlets. And they're kind of sunk into these beams up here. Not sure how I like it. I also did it with the H-beams sort of a little bit sideways, and I'm missing the end caps here. Just chuck a couple of those on real quick. Yeah, I had this set with the H-beam like sideways in the H orientation, and it also it just didn't feel right. I don't know how to explain it. I think it was this beam specifically, and if I can get up there. So it looks like it clips. It doesn't clip to the middle of the beam, unfortunately. It clips to like the outer edge of the bounding box of the model, which is okay if you're not doing the double things, the double power outlets, but with the doubles it can be a little bit weird. And then I just daisy chained each of those together and ran them straight down. They're all connected to each other. There's one that goes from there to there, and then that connects down to this beam, which goes across to that beam and back up and over to the foundries. So all in all, we should be good to go and turn this on. I think the only thing I'm not super happy with is this. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and just change that. So the problem with the way that storage container was set up is I also want a dimensional depot involved. That way I can have cloud storage for my pipes and stuff. Let's see. That works. And are you clipping or anything? Nope. Look pretty good to me. Yeah, that works. And then we can slap a dimensional depot on top if I have all the materials, which I currently don't. And it'll fit appropriately with that right there. So delicious. I will happily accept that. Yeah, so I guess let's get all this powered up. And then I can go back to decorating. I'm going to need a lot more materials for that. So, oh, and I'm also going to need to bring the coal over. Not straight, curve. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. So these two ought to be sending a total of 240 into all of these. Yep. And just make sure. Yep. Here comes the coal. Looks like it might take a minute for it to get started up. That does, in fact, appear to be working. Ah, well, that's a part of the problem. And that's a part of the problem. Okay, good. That should be sending everything through. Let's go and check on the coal as well. Do those need to be upgraded? No. But what about the ones up closer here? Yeah. Alright, cool. So we should be good. This should be running at 100%. Yep, that does appear to be the case. And this one has already run enough to clear itself out, so that's good, and it's got its power shards in there. Very nice. And okay, it looks like the steel ingots are being produced appropriately. By the way, this splitter here is going into a Mark I conveyor lift, just to kind of throttle it down a little bit. So this is always going to be sending, well, I say it's always going to be sending the appropriate amount, but it looks like it's not attached. How about now? Yeah, so it should limit that down to the 60 per minute. Yeah, it looks like it's taking a second for the coal to get down here, but it is getting down here, which is good. Iron's taking a second to fill up. But that's a part of why I like to feed these from opposite directions, is I feel like, and I haven't tested this, but I feel like it affects the saturation time for loading all the materials in. Oh, I missed another connector there. So yeah, like one side's always is going to start off being short on one material, the other end is going to end up being short on the other material, and then the centers will be the first thing active. Am I insane? Is iron not doing what I expect? Or is it just waiting to... Yeah, it's probably waiting to fill these guys up, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, regardless, I'm still pretty happy with how things are going. Oh. Might help if I set up some outputs from these. That may be a good idea. And that's going to ruin my walkway. So maybe I'll have to do something different over here in just a little bit. There we go. That should be beams coming in here and getting sent up into the depot. Very nice. And what I'll do here is, instead of this, I'll keep my walkable space and I'll get rid of this guy. Slap down a splitter right here. Yep, mild clipping on that cable there. I think I can accept that. Now I just got to get up here and see if I can align this again. I believe that goes the wrong way. It sure does. Can we do it that way? Yeah, much better. Alright, great. And it looks like the iron's getting... at least getting close. Yeah, that one's starting to back stuff. Yeah, we're good here for now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I think I want to get some signs and put some lighting in among those frames. But other than that, I mean, I think the exterior decoration came along pretty nicely. The side around the corner there that you can't really see at the moment is in need of some touch-up, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. So I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. Also, some interior work has been done, but first, I got one of these dudes. So they're not that expensive to build, and I had some motors and some crystal oscillators laying around from exploring and stuff. So I just unlocked this dude in the MAM. He's from the quartz tech tree. Is that... No, the seat's up here. Okay. This is just weird empty space there. Alright, let's come look at the inside here real quick. Yeah, so a lot of this I'm going to come back and repaint later. I'd like to change all of these machines to the carbon steel finish. Just because it's fitting for this, and I might actually change the overall color for the entire place. This light teal just is too loud, I guess, would be my descriptor. I will say I do like these fans and stuff also coming through on the inside, and the little frame pillar trim here looks very nice. Got a bunch of H-beams here for all the power connections and everything, so that's cool. And then easy access up here to where all the boom booms are made. Yeah, I was pretty happy with this. Let me pop down here and show you the naked wall. And the reason this wall is naked is because that staircase right there. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do about that yet. But anyway, let's take a break from this. Ooh, that needs to be changed too. Was that the grip metal foundation? Yeah. I also did a little bit of support work down here. Just in case I ended up doing some vehicles on the ground moving through here. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might build like actual roads and stuff, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Yeah, I think all in all, the design of this place is pretty nice. Next option is going to be, completing the milestone that we've got up at the top right there. Because I would like to go and upgrade our coal power things. And not a small upgrade either. I have a pretty... I would expect to quadruple what we're doing already. And then on top of that, adding some more coal nodes to it, because there are other coal nodes out there. So let me go and unlock this. This is going to give us access to Mark II miners and stuff. And I will be with y'all in just a moment. Alright, here we go. Advanced steel production. Also amid the sounds of Satisfactory's birthday happening here. I missed the actual date itself, but there was a recent update on the day that Satisfactory initially released into early access. And yeah, that really cool little touch that we have a true birthday celebration for the game itself. Also a whole bunch of balloons, a sloop balloon. Yeah. Very nice. All right, so we just got access to Miner Mark II, and those aren't too terrible to make. It's the encased industrial beams that's going to be most of the problem. Modular frames can be made pretty easily, though. All right, cool. And so the difference between these, this takes triple the amount of power, but it mines twice as fast as the Mark I miner. So a Mark I miner on a normal node mines up 60 items per minute. On a pure node, 120. Well, a Mark II will mine 60 on a normal, or I'm sorry, 120 on a normal node and 240 on a pure node. So very, very good to have. There was also some other stuff in there. Let's see. Yeah, but it was all just parts, so no big deal. We'll be able to make motors shortly. Maybe that'll be a project for next time. Big motor factory after we've got coal expanded. Alright, I've gathered up some resources and just looking at this, so we currently have one pure node, one impure... No, sorry, one pure, one normal, and then two impure over in that direction. On Mark II miners with 100% overclocking, a pure node will give us 480 per minute. The normal node will give us 240, and then each of the impure nodes will give us 120 apiece on Mark II miners with 100% overclocking. So functionally, that is 2 impures makes a normal, 2 normals makes a pure. Functionally speaking, we have 2 pure nodes able to produce at 480 per minute. So I've already done a little bit of math on this. 480 for the pure node plus 240 for the normal node plus 120 and 120 for both of the impure nodes is 960 coal per minute, right? 960 divided by 15, which is the burn rate of coal in a coal-fired generator, is 64 generators. Great. I've got room set aside over there to do this. So, 64 times 75 is 4,800 megawatts. That's a pretty sizable step up from the 600 that we've currently got. And so what my plan is going to be, I'm not going to be able to hook up all 64 of these immediately. I'm going to have to leave out about 240 coals worth. Ooh. I'm going to have to leave out about 240 coals worth of production until I can get Logistics Mark IV. Just simply because we don't have the belt capacity to move 480 at a time out of any of this. But I could combine once I have Logistics Mark IV, I can combine all of this down into 2 Mark IV belts coming into all this. And yeah, that shouldn't be a huge problem. So it's going to be 8 coal generators per row, so 8, and 16, 24, 32, and then 8, 16, and then 24 and 32 on this end. So I'll fill in these last 2 sets later on. For right now, I guess let's get to setting this up. Alright, we are back, and just a little update on this. I've got all of the miners and stuff going ahead and filling up all of the coal plants over here. I've got 3 lines of 240. So for 24 total? No. 8, 16, 32, 48. 48 coal power generators total. And again, this is mostly because I don't have the tier of belts required to pull 480 from that one pure node, but what I have done is overclocked that one pure node so it's producing 240, and I've rearranged the input belt over here to make use of that. Even though it seems to... Oh, it's already backed up. That explains it. Yeah. And this side is already hooked up over there in the back. Water's already getting piped into these dudes. I thought it was... Oh, that's the wrong one. Are you still running at 100%? You sure are. As long as that says 100%, I am totally fine with this. These guys are not running because they're not hooked up to power at the moment. And I'm going to do away with this monstrosity up here and go to something a little bit more standardized for these. So let me get to doing some decorative stuff, because power lines and stuff are going to be part of that decoration. And I'll get back with y'all in a moment. Oh, by the way, found an easier way to do this. Let me come over here where I've got some free room. So one of the problems that I was having was with snapping, right? Where, like, even if you place something out here, yeah, you can get something to snap to it that way. But if you've got anything vertical like that, you see it snaps weirdly. So all you really have to do to get this to snap properly is get it to line up with, like, the interior edge of this little flange here. And that'll help you with snapping quite a bit. And it works the same way. You can just grab one of these and set it up at roughly the right location, and then bring that all the way up, just like that. And this one will snap into place super easily. And of course, these were much the same thing. Anyway, let me do some decorative stuff, and I will be right back. And we're back. I've basically just built a little frame with these H-beams here. And I did, in fact, take down that ugly mess that was here. I do intend to build an actual building around this. However, since the machines are only 3/4 built in here, since I have to wait for the next level of logistics, I'm gonna wait to put a roof on this thing. I'm kind of thinking something like a pseudo domed over thing, maybe. But I don't want to start putting that in until I've got everything built down there. That way maybe I can do it with blueprints and make my life a little bit easier, but we'll see. But yeah, I have confirmed all of this is up and running. Now it's just a matter of seeing if it will stay consistently up and running, but we are doing 3,600 megawatts, which is about 6 times what we were producing over here, which is huge. Massive power upgrade, and this means that we can start doing some bigger stuff. And by the way, before I pop out of here, I have come to really enjoy doing vertical power connections like this. My only gripe is that I can't snap to a point where it's absolutely perfectly centered. Like a control nudge will not get a perfect center on that. And that is many upsetting. If anybody has any tips on that, please leave a comment down below. Oh, and I guess I should show you guys this stuff that's going on over here. I built some little pillars with some power support just to run this little bit of coal across from these miners over here. And this basically just extends out that way and links up those two impure miners. So this is a line of 240 coal per minute. And I do intend on overflowing these lines, by the way. I'm thinking if I fully overclock these, because each one of these is running at 120, so I should be able to get them to 150 per minute? Yeah. And then I'll do that for all of these, including for the pure node. Well, I don't know if I can do it for the pure node. But I'll do it for these, and I'll do it for the normal node over there. So that'll give me 120 coal per minute free that maybe I can use for vehicles? I don't know. We'll see. Hey, would y'all like to be irrationally upset about something real quick? Look at this interface here, right? You see you've got the power, or the ticket sync readout here where it says how many points per minute you're getting. You've got your sticker here, and then the readout for how many points till the next coupon, how many coupons are built up, how many DNA points till the next coupon, and then the little printer thing here where the coupons come out from, right? You see the layout of this. Why does it not match? Why is this different? What? This is like the only screen that's on this awesome sync. There's clearly the spot where tickets are supposed to come from. Well, why fix it? Alright, great. Final touch. Let's get ourselves the blueprint designer. Oh, baby. I think I might want to build a special place for this. I just need... Give me some of that modular frames. Oh no, I'm a little bit short. Yeah, put this dude together just as a temporary measure for now. I think next time we should work on getting getting space elevator parts automated, but also modular frames and stuff. So yeah, let me, for now, throw this blueprint designer down right. Sure. It's not a bad spot for it. And, well, I guess now that I've got this, between episodes, I can work on putting together a bunch of really nice blueprints. All kinds of stuff that'll just be really great to have. So, yeah, with all that, with the power upgrades and the steel upgrades and everything that we've got going on today, I think that's a good spot to call it for now. Before I do anything, let's look through some of what we got here. This would be good just to get that, just to get the inventory slots and stuff. And unlocking these would similarly be very, very nice. I would love to get the alternate recipe for these. The encased industrial pipes is way cheaper. Hyver tubes, yeah, none of this looks too terribly expensive. So maybe this is stuff that I can work on later on, I guess. Anyway, appreciate you guys coming out and watching. If you enjoyed the time lapse at the beginning, please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know. And I will make sure to do more of that, because I had a ton of fun putting that together. Yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah, I'll take it easy.